What is your favourite RPG of all time? After playing the game for over 100 hours, mine is without question The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. But why is this relevant? Well, because Hogwarts Legacy is the next big open world RPG to release in 2022. There have been many RPGs come and go since The Witcher 3 released in 2015. Many were good, some were great, and others were not. And although I don't expect any game will ever overshadow the outstanding quality of The Witcher 3, there are many things Hogwarts Legacy could get right if they learn from CD Projekt Red's masterpiece of a video game. These are the 8 things Hogwarts Legacy should learn from The Witcher 3. The bestiary in The Witcher 3 is an encyclopedic menu of the monsters found in the game. This could work just as well in Hogwarts Legacy. We already know we can tame fantastic beasts like mooncalves, scraphorns, and hippogriffs. A bestiary in Hogwarts Legacy would detail each magical creature we encounter or learn about, with its weaknesses if hostile, food it likes, its habitat, and means to tame it. In The Witcher 3, this bestiary is part of the glossary, which includes the same encyclopedic knowledge of characters we encounter and books we pick up. Once again, these aspects would fit perfectly in with Hogwarts Legacy. Important or less important characters we encounter in the campaign and books we find, whether they be from the Hogwarts library, classrooms, or elsewhere in the open world. This would allow us the option to explore more of the lore behind Hogwarts Legacy and put more hours into the game. The second thing Hogwarts Legacy should learn from The Witcher 3 is one of the most important things: exploring morality in the choices we make, or to just have well thought out dialogue options. However, there shouldn't be choices that in the moment allow us to completely change the morals of a character we have built. If a player chooses to go down the good path and crafts a character of good morals, we shouldn't suddenly have the option to kill our best friend because they took our school books, for example. Hogwarts Legacy should give us the creative space to build our character in whatever way we see fit, choosing the choices we best think would fit our character, because everybody's will be different. This is unlike Geralt in The Witcher 3, who is already a pre-established character with character traits. The Witcher 3 doesn't give us the option to make Geralt a terrible person, and it shouldn't, because that's not in his character. Hogwarts Legacy, on the other hand, will allow us to build our very own character from scratch, and our first choices will determine who we want to be as a person. These choices can determine character growth, and should always make sense with the decisions we have made prior. The Witcher 3's use of alchemy is the next thing Hogwarts Legacy should take inspiration from, where in The Witcher 3 Geralt can find and loot alchemy ingredients anywhere in the open world to brew potions, oils, and decoctions. We've already seen students brewing potions in the dedicated classroom, but what if we can brew potions wherever we like, as long as we have the required ingredients? Potions like the healing potion, which heals the drinker and replenishes any lost health or stamina, and requires wormwood, boba tuber pus, dittany, and dragon liver. Or the more complicated yet popular polyjuice potion, which requires lacewing flies, leeches, powdered bicorn horn, knot grass, fluxweed, boomslang skin, and a string of hair from the person you want to turn into. Just as crucial as my previous ideas, and another thing Hogwarts Legacy should learn from The Witcher 3 is brothels. Wait, no. What I meant to say was an engaging and lived in open world. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and Hogsmeade are the 2 confirmed areas in the game so far. These are fundamentally the most significant areas of the game and where we will spend the majority of the hours we invest. So it needs to feel like the populated and wonderful wizarding world we know and love. The Witcher 3 does this spectacularly for its own world, with each area of the game having its own distinct ambience. Velen, Novigrad, Skellige, and Toussaint each feel like a refreshing new expanded area when you reach their lands. There is incredible attention to detail, and no 2 characters you come across are the same. They might have similar models, but each have their own distinct personality and truly feel like real people with real problems. Of course, this is down to the writing talent of the team behind The Witcher 3, which, even as good as Avalanche Software might be, won't rival. Such an experience is not as simple as a new feature or mechanic. There's levels to an engaging and realistic open world, and even though I don't want to expect too much of Hogwarts Legacy, I do hope it's given the care an RPG set in the wizarding world deserves. On top of all this, like The Witcher 3, Hogwarts Legacy should include random encounter mini-quests, explorable caves, and areas of interest that don't appear on the main map. This will reward exploration if and when we choose to venture outside our dormitory. For number 5, good contributing side quests that connect well with the main plot. It can be hard sometimes in The Witcher 3 to distinguish main from secondary quests, so that's how good they are. The side quests aren't of any lesser quality than the main quest, quests, with both having the very same quality of cutscenes, performances, and contribution to the narrative. Hogwarts Legacy should learn from this. I want to explore the Forbidden Forest and embark on a quest that is part of my overarching journey. An element of this is the characters that will be in the game. I'm hoping for well written and good performances all round, but what I think is unfortunate is the likelihood of rivals being AI generated, which surely rules out the possibility of well written and complex characters, but this hasn't been confirmed yet and is only leaked information, so let's not ponder. Gwent. If you've never played The Witcher 3, Gwent is the in-game card game Geralt plays with practically everyone over the course of the game and beyond. I'm not suggesting Gwent or even a card game for Hogwarts Legacy, but instead something similar, Wizard's Chess. It's not as versatile as Gwent, a player can't just pull a chessboard from their pockets, so there should be limited areas where playing the game is available. In the Great Hall, the library, common rooms, and the 3 broomsticks, for example. And again, unlike the brilliance of Gwent, there isn't much room for rewards, where in The Witcher 3 you can win your opponent's wagered card. Instead, and even separately, there could be another form of engaging card collection in Hogwarts Legacy. What would be most rational is the cards of famous witches and wizards from the Chocolate Frogs, which students have famously collected and traded at Hogwarts for many years. Unfortunately though, these cards were first packaged with Chocolate Frogs in 1926 according to the Harry Potter wiki, so unless Hogwarts Legacy slightly retcon this fact, it doesn't seem viable. The 7th thing Hogwarts Legacy should learn from The Witcher 3 is, in a way, how it handles romance options. Both games differ in this aspect, because Geralt already knows the characters he has the option to romance, whereas in Hogwarts Legacy, if the option is available, we'll be building relationships with brand new and, I presume, AI generated characters. So what do I mean by all this? The romance between Geralt and Triss, for example, is built up over time with the choices we make, and directly affects the end game. Hogwarts Legacy could learn from this, with romance options introducing characters that would dissuade us from the dark path, or persuade us to take a hold of this dormant power, and end up with a fate worse than our own. The last thing Hogwarts Legacy should learn from The Witcher 3 might just be me expecting too much, and that is no microtransactions or loot boxes. I think we can all agree, for a Harry Potter RPG or an RPG of any kind, cosmetics or leveling boosts locked behind a paywall is no fun. Not because it rivals that of another player, because in a single player campaign that doesn't matter, but because some of what used to be widely considered as free upgrades, like new hairstyles or outfits, would be unobtainable unless you pay the specified fee. DLCs are the exception, as long as they're expansions and not cosmetic DLCs. But Witcher 3's Hearts of Stone and Blood of Wine expansions are the best DLCs I've ever played in a video game, and well worth the extra cost. So if Hogwarts Legacy decided to include any story expansions, I'd happily pay the price. But generally, what I want Hogwarts Legacy to learn from The Witcher 3 is to have a well-focused narrative, developed characters, good core gameplay mechanics, and a carefully designed world. I don't expect Hogwarts Legacy will be as good as The Witcher 3, or achieve any of these things on this list I mentioned as well as The Witcher 3 did themselves, but I trust the developers have and will give it their all for what will become the best Harry Potter video game of all time. What do you want to see from Hogwarts Legacy? Let me know in the comments below. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe for more videos on Hogwarts Legacy. If you've enjoyed all the Witcher talk in today's video, more Witcher 3 videos are on the way with its upcoming next generation upgrade. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.